All right, so today we are going to go over some basic insulation cuts. I don't know if you've ever done this before in class or anything like that, but I can guarantee you if I didn't go over it, I would get to your job and see things that looked something like, you know, let's cut this really quick. This is really cheap insulation. I guarantee you I would see things that look somewhat like this. You know, where you just kind of butt them up, or maybe right here with the T, you know, you got something like this going on.
Tape it up.
Yeah, where you're just, it's not really, maybe put some tape on it. You know, that is not, it's not what we're looking for here. It's very simple to do once you know how to do it. There's a couple of methods you could take, especially with 3/4. On 3/4, you could roll some of your 90s, is what we called it. Fairly simple, which I'm gonna go over, and then, you know, the best way to do it, which is to cut everything into 45s. You know, you're gonna have multiple different types of insulation you could use, and these methods will work on all of them. You know, you have your regular black insulation, a little bit of a higher end situation. You got this, which is fiberglass. So on your fiberglass, and really, you could use what 2 degrees create, what's your most common 2 angles to create a 90?
Common 2 angles create a 90.
45 degrees. If you got a 45, what 2 angles create that?
90.
22.5. So knowing that, it will help you do your insulation, right? It's simple. So you can get those angles off of this speed square. You could get one of the, have you ever seen the old wood boxes where it's like a box and it has the little slits in it?
A miter box?
A miter box, that's what it's called. You can get a miter box and you could cut your insulation in that because it has preset angles in it as well. So you'll have a 22.5. You'll have a 45 in there. You'll have other angles as well that you might run into. You know, what are you doing if you run into a 22? You got to insulate, you know?
11.25.
Exactly.
Just keep
So,
dividing by 2.
what I like to do is I'll take this right here. Oh my God.
See what I can find that.
My speed square. Really, you could buy a nice insulation knife too. I would recommend it. And now I'll get my 45 on here. Boom. And I'll come to my other side here. I'm gonna get my 45 here. And I'm just kind of using this as a template, right? So now I got my 2 ends cut. Boom. That's how you create a 90 when you're doing insulation. Very simple. And then if you have the 222s, it'll be something like this. You're never gonna...
Yeah. Just use the...
Yeah. You could also hit a 45. No, I wouldn't do that. I would do your 222s, but anyway, most people you're gonna see this deal, and then some tape, which you're leaving the entire back end of the 90 uninsulated, right? And it looks like crap. If you do this and then you hit it with a piece of tape, very professional looking, very simple. That's 2.5-inch insulation, so I'm not gonna do anything really with that yet. Another method here, okay? When you're doing a 90 and you have this cheaper insulation, you can roll these 90s in, okay? And if you know how to do it, it will come out very professional looking. if you come look at this right here on this side, Blaine, you can roll your 90s.
Okay.
Okay? Which I showed you how to do the 45, so on this particular situation, I am gonna leave this 90 rolled here. Just to show you. Boom. So we'll take the camera really quick with the tripod and we'll bring it to this side as well. That is a rolled 90. You're not gonna be able to do this on 2-inch or anything larger really than 1 inch, but it's a quicker method if you are doing 3/4. And you might not wanna go for this. This is something that I've been doing a very long time. You know, I'm going through, especially up north, insulation is very important. And I'm going through and I'm doing a whole house and I'm speed running. You know, I'm just boom, I'm hitting my 90s. The only time I'm really trying to make a special cut is when I hit a T, which is what we're gonna go over now. But with the garden centers and everything that are about to be coming up, I wanted to make sure that I was going over this with everybody so that when you guys get to a garden center, it looks presentable. So what you're gonna do with a T, I think they call it a fish mouth, okay? And you're pretty much just, I would say, making more of a, especially with your smaller insulation,
You're gonna notch it.
you're gonna make more of like a triangle almost. Okay, boom, which I didn't realize I already stuck this together. That's not good. I should have left the tape on this. That's gonna cause me a problem. We don't need too much of it to make it look good. So yeah, you're gonna just pretty much call it a fish mouth. And there's a precise way to do this, but for the most part here, I've been doing it a very long time, so something kind of like that right there, right?
Okay.
So it's almost like 222s on the outside. Then I'm gonna take this right here, okay? And that's gonna get marked here. Boom, just like that. And there's a bunch of ways to do this. I mean, I do it the way I do it, and you know, it's the way I was taught, and it works good for me. Now, what you'll notice when I get this out is that we're going to be able to close this insulation all the way. That. Boom. Take our insulation here. And we'll get that slid right in. And now, with a little bit of tape, okay, a little bit of tape there, that'll be about as good as it's gonna get right there. And it's pretty much perfectly insulated. Our 90 looks clean, our T looks clean, and that's it, right? And then you'll have some tape here as well, which it'll hold it all nice and it'll make it look a little bit better.
And what tape is preferred for?
I'm gonna be honest, when I'm using this, I'm usually just using electrical. on a good electrical though, like the Scotch 33. It's very flexible and it'll allow you to it won't bind all up on you everywhere.
Won't get all wrinkly.
And that is insulation.